You know, I never imagined my quiet little life in this sleepy suburb of Austin, Texas, would explode into a full-blown war over something as dumb as a garden shed. But there I was, staring down a crowd of angry neighbors at the community meeting, feeling like the whole world was caving in on me. It started innocently enough. I'd just bought this fixer-upper house on Elm Street, thinking it'd be a fresh start after my divorce. But nope. The moment I started building that shed in my backyard to store my tools and maybe grow some veggies, the emails and nasty notes started pouring in, accusing me of violating some ancient HOA rule that nobody even remembered. And deep down, amid all the chaos, I felt this weird tug in my gut, like some higher power was whispering, "Hey, Mike, this ain't just about a shed. This is your wake-up call, buddy, to step up and fight for what's right." Let me back up a bit. 'Cause this didn't come out of nowhere. It was like the universe had been prepping me for years without me even knowing. I'd always been the guy who kept to himself, working my 9 to 5 as a mechanic, fixing cars and minding my own business. But there was this nagging feeling inside, like I was meant for more than just turning wrenches and paying bills. I'd grown up in a rough part of Houston, with a dad who drank too much and a mom who prayed her way through it all. And those hidden battles from my childhood, the sleepless nights listening to arguments, the times I felt invisible in my own home, they stuck with me, shaping me into someone who could take a punch without breaking. But here in Austin, it was different. The pain wasn't from family anymore. It was from these so-called upstanding folks in the neighborhood who saw my shed as a threat to their perfect lawns and property values. The HOA president, this woman named Linda Sharp, as attack, with a smile that could cut glass, been running the show for a decade. And turns out, she had her fingers in all sorts of shady deals, like approving variances for her buddies while slapping fines on anyone who crossed her. Jealousy, man, that's what fueled her. She couldn't stand that a newcomer, like me, with my beat-up truck and no fancy degree, was making improvements that might actually increase my home's value more than hers. So when I ignored her first warning letter, she ramped it up, showing up at my door one evening, all prim and proper, saying, "Mr. Thompson, you think you can just waltz in here and ignore the rules we've built this community on? That shed's an eyesore, and if you don't tear it down, we'll lien your house faster than you can say foreclosure." Her voice dripped with that fake politeness, but I could see the fire in her eyes, like she was enjoying the power trip on me. I just stood there, heart pounding, mumbling something about checking the bylaws, feeling that old ache from my past bubbling up, the one that said, "You're not good enough, Mike, just back down." But something shifted that night. You see, I couldn't sleep, tossing and turning, and in the quiet, it hit me like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just about a shed or some petty rule. It was a test, a divine interruption in my ordinary life, making me realize I wasn't meant to blend in with the crowd. I'd felt it before, that quiet pull during tough times, like when my marriage fell apart and I hit rock bottom, questioning everything. But those battles, they weren't wasting me. They were forging me, turning my scars into strength. Every rejection I'd faced, from jobs that passed me over to friends who ghosted when I needed them most, it all felt like preparation now, evidence that I was set apart for something bigger. And Linda? She became the face of that darkness, the enemy throwing everything at me because, deep down, she sensed I carried a light that could expose her little empire of control. The next day, I dug into the HOA records. Turns out, she'd been manipulating votes to favor her real estate side hustle, selling lots to developers while blocking folks like me from simple upgrades, all because she wanted to keep property values low enough to buy out neighbors on the cheap. Get pure and simple. She saw me as a threat to her grip on power, and the community misunderstandings fueled rumors flying that I was trouble, that my shed was hiding something illegal, when really, it was just a place for me to plant tomatoes and find some peace. As the attacks ramped up, anonymous complaints to the city, even a fake petition circulating with forged signatures, I felt the weight. Man, the hidden struggles nobody saw, the tears I shed alone in my garage, wondering if God had forgotten me. But those moments, they weren't punishments. They were like a chisel, carving out empathy in me, teaching me to hear that still, small voice clearer than the noise. I remember one neighbor, old Mr. Jenkins from across the street, pulling me aside after a heated meeting, whispering, "Son, I've seen this before. Linda's got half the board in her pocket, but you keep fighting. There's something about you that lights up a room, even when she's trying to dim it." His words stuck, reminding me that light shines brightest in the dark, and sure enough, when I walked into those meetings, folks started shifting uncomfortably, like my presence exposed their hidden motives without me saying a word. Rejection followed me like a shadow. People I'd wave to every morning suddenly crossing the street to avoid me, but it wasn't weakness. It was proof I didn't fit their mold, divine protection pushing me out of complacency. Then came the crossroads, that pivotal moment where I had to choose. Play it safe, tear down the shed and bow to Linda's tyranny, or step into the unknown, trusting that tug in my spirit. It wasn't loud or dramatic at first, just a quiet urgency. One Sunday morning, sitting on my porch with coffee, feeling the weight of it all, like heaven was saying, "Mike, choose life, choose purpose, even if it means sacrifice." I'd delayed before in life, putting off dreams because fear screamed louder, but not this time. Mercy had given me chance after chance, and I knew hesitation would only carve away more of my soul. So I said yes, dug deeper, found old emails proving Linda's conflicts of interest, and at the next HOA meeting, I stood up, heart racing, and laid it all out. "Look, folks," I said, voice steady but with that edge of a guy who's had enough. "This isn't about my shed, it's about how Linda here's been playing us all, approving deals for her pals while finding the rest of us into submission. I've got proof, right here, and if we don't stand up now, who's next?" The room erupted. Linda shot back, face red. "You have no idea what you're talking about, you outsider. This community's thrived under my leadership, and you're just bitter because you can't follow simple rules." Her words stung, mired in sarcasm, but I fired back. "Thrived? You mean while you're lining your pockets? Nah, that's not leadership, that's manipulation, and it stops today." Gasps all around, and suddenly, allies emerged. Mr. Jenkins nodded. A young couple in the back chimed in with their own stories of unfair fines, and just like that, the atmosphere shifted, my light piercing through, pushing back the darkness she'd built. The counterattack was swift and unexpected. I didn't just defend my shed, I rallied a group of us overlooked neighbors, filing a formal complaint with the state, exposing her embezzlement of HOA funds for personal vacations. It was warfare, not with fists but with truth and persistence. Me prayers in the quiet mornings becoming weapons, my kindness to doubters disarming their defenses. Linda fought dirty, spreading lies that I was a troublemaker with a criminal past, total BS, by the way. But the more she pushed, the clearer it became. Her relentless attacks were because she feared what I represented, a disruption to her unholy grip. We uncovered how her jealousy stemmed from her own failed marriage and financial woes, projecting it onto anyone who dared improve their lot, motivated by that deep-seated need for control in a life spinning out of hers. But I rose, shining brighter, partnering with others like a unified flame. We liked each other's posts on the neighborhood Facebook group, shared documents, subscribed to a newsletter we started for transparency, even donated to a legal fund, and bit by bit, the fortress she built crumbled. In the end, it all culminated in that final board election, a scene straight out of a movie. The community hall packed, tension thick as fog, Linda at the podium trying her last desperate ploy, sneering, "If you vote him in, say goodbye to the standards that make this place great." But I stood tall, crowned in a way I never expected, saying, "Standards? Let's talk real standards like fairness, community, breaking the chains of favoritism that held us back for years." The votes poured in, and she lost, big time, her face crumpling as she stormed out, muttering threats that fizzled into nothing. I felt unshakable glory in that moment. Not fame or revenge, but peace, knowing I'd broken generational cycles of silence in our little suburb, turning pain into purpose, rejection into redirection. My shed stayed, but more than that, the neighborhood changed. Folks started talking openly, healing old wounds, and I realized I wasn't just surviving. I was commissioned, sent to carry this light forward, proving that one yes can rewrite legacies. But here's the thing that still nags at me, and maybe it'll spark something in you too. Was I really the hero here? Or did I just stir up more division in a community that needed unity? Linda got ousted, sure, but last I heard, she's suing half the board, claiming we ganged up on her out of spite. and some neighbors still side with her, saying the old ways kept things orderly. Makes you wonder about justice, right? Where's the line between standing up and overstepping? I'd love to hear your take in the comments. Have you faced something like this in your neighborhood, with HOA drama or hidden power plays? Was it worth the fight, or should folks just keep the peace? Share your stories. Hit that like if this resonated. Subscribe for more real-life tales like this. And let's keep the conversation going, because who knows, your comment might light the way for someone else out there feeling that same tug.